Let me start here. Normally, I see films so you don't have to. That's oftentimes the position I find myself in. Whether or not I think the film's going to be good or bad, ultimately I show up at the theater and I give you my heartfelt, honest opinion. And recently, it's been a lot of bad news. There haven't been a lot of great movies out there. And I don't know what the reason is for that. I have no idea the reasoning behind the studio's decisions to not make great stories. And yet today, I saw an amazing movie. Something I think everybody should see. Something that you might even be able to see for free. Because they have something called a Pay It Forward program, which I myself am going to contribute to. And just to be fair, I'm going to give you the name of the film. Sound of Freedom. Angel Studios got the opportunity to distribute this through various means and processes that took far too long. And that's part of the story as well. With that, here we go. Okay, let me just start with this. This is a powerful movie. You're gonna walk in there and walk out feeling something. It's impossible not to feel something very powerful. And it's a range of emotions. It's heartbreaking, it's empowering, it's motivating, and it's just great storytelling. And in this particular case, it's based on a true story, on somebody who worked for the government and gave up their job 10 months before retirement to pursue one case that our government just wasn't going to give him the ability to pursue: the rescue of a young girl. Now, to what extent all of this may or may not be entirely accurate, one thing's for sure: it's 100% gripping. And that's why I say it's incredibly powerful. Jim Caviezel delivers probably one of the best performances I've ever seen. And at the very end of the film, during the credits, he offers a special message. And it's worth hanging around for the extra 2 minutes to hear what he has to say. And without going deeply into spoilers, this is about rescuing children that have essentially been taken from their homes and distributed to some very bad people for an awful lot of money. It's not an easy story to watch, but you can't take your eyes away. And to assuage your fears, I'm going to say this because it's important. There's nothing grotesque, obscene, or anything unfathomable that actually exists in the real world. They've spared us that with this film, and for good reason. And the storytelling is done from many different perspectives, but most powerful among them is the view from the children. Tim Ballard went well beyond the particular investigation that he took upon himself and stuck around in South America, Central America, to pursue all of the leads that he possibly could, rescuing well over 100 children in the process and returning them to their families. What's fascinating to me, and maybe a little disturbing at the same time, is that Disney had kind of shelved this film, at least reportedly. Bounding Into Comics did an article just about a month ago on that very subject, pointing out that after the Fox acquisition, this film just got set aside, and it took some Herculean efforts to get it back out onto the screen. It wasn't very costly, and it wouldn't have required a lot of promotion, but for whatever reason, Disney wanted no part of it. It took a really long time for the team to get access to the film so that they could distribute it through Angel Studios. And there's a story that goes on and on about this, and I would encourage you to read it over at Bounding Into Comics. And what's strange is the message is clear. There's a certain amount of timing involved in everything. Everything here. Whether it's convenient for the people that are involved in the story or the people that are simply trying to bring the story to you. And you can go on and you can read a bunch of really questionable articles about this particular film property and the story around it. And it does and in some really awful ways. These stories are trying to downplay something that we know occurs across the globe all of the time, far too often. Because let's face it, once is far too often in this situation. And if many of the rights groups that track these events are accurate, and this is a $150 billion enterprise every single year, well, we need to work harder to stop it. Now, I'm gonna guess that this particular video, and maybe now my channel, will stall. It's not something that YouTube probably wants me to talk about. It's probably not something any of you want to think about, but you should think about seeing this film. In fact, you should go beyond thinking about it I think everybody should see it. And just consider this. You don't have to go in there with the reservations of not coming out of the theater without something to hold on to. And while this is set up as a thriller, it's really kind of something that will touch you to your very heart, to your very soul. I'm not sure what else I can say. This is going to be a shorter video other than to give you my thoughts. This is a 4 out of 5, an 8.5 out of 10. It is one of the top tier films I've seen this year. Those are very high ratings for me if you know anything about the way I critique films. Beginning to end, you'll be engaged, and it's going to be hard to tear yourself away from the screen to get a drink or go to the restroom. So pre-plan both. And because I don't want this to be a bummer, I'll tell you, there's a happy ending, in a way, at the end of the film. At least you won't end up wondering what actually happens and what happened after that. With that, and at this point, let me just shed the melancholy because we don't need it. Inspirational that this film can be, you can take away a lot of positive messaging. Doesn't have to be a downer. It can be the beginning of something new for all of us, the pursuit of good, which I think we can all contribute to this world. Anyway, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.